UCL football is back this week, guys, and the man himself here, Hokage Puya, will be predicting the 2025-2026 league phase table in the UCL. I'm not joking. I have literally gone through and predicted every single game for every team, every single game for every team, and I will be giving you my prediction for this league phase from 36th to first place, the top 8, who will be going to the playoffs, in which stinky, smelly teams will be heading home after the league phase / group phase is done. You guys, look at this dedication. Every single match, the only team, I will admit to you now, the only team I made no predictions for, if you could see right here, is Kairat. This line right here is Kairat. I did not bother predicting any of those games because I knew automatically that I'm putting that team that borders China in dead last with 0 points and a tons of goals conceded. So put some respect on my name, man. Look at that dedication. That deserves a like, right? Give me a like or something. I don't know. Tell me you love me. Tell me you hate me. Something. Give me some attention. But anyway, let's get into it. League phase predictions. It's your boy Hokage. Last year, my predictions were not so good. My predictions last year were not so good. So hopefully we could do a little better this year. Let's get straight into it with my beautiful Google slides, and hopefully you could see everything clearly. We're going to start with looking at all the teams that I think won't qualify for the playoffs. Then we'll go through the teams I think that will qualify for the playoffs, and then we'll go through my top 8 for this year's league phase table. Now, as you see, these are the teams I have in this is the teams I have finishing 25th to 36th that won't be going to the playoffs minimum. They will be going home after the league phase is done in late January. Yeah, position on the left, team name, points, and then goal difference on the right. That's how I have it. And I'm not going to spend too much time breaking all these teams, but this is the shit pile. Like this is the team that smells. These are the teams that smell. These are the teams that are going to get pimped and destroyed. This is all I got to say about these teams.
Somebody smell like shit! Somebody smell like shit! Wait! Somebody smell like shit!
These teams suck. Listen, I'm trying to incorporate the clips thing on StreamYard. I mean, I have StreamYard for a reason. Might as well use the features. That's what I think about these teams. I mean, I really don't see how I get most of these teams wrong. If I'll say anything about these teams is that if I were to bet on maybe 3 teams in this list I have here that will prove me wrong and go to the playoffs, the teams I would bet on are probably, looking just at my league table here in front of me, the 3 teams I would bet on from the list of teams I have not going to the playoffs would be Galatasaray, PSV can be a tricky one, and Bodo Glimt. If there are 3 teams here that I'm a little scared of making me look like a fool, it's Galatasaray, PSV, and Bodo Glimt. But the rest of them, Olympiacos, Copenhagen, Benfica, Sporting, Pafos, Slavia, Union Saint-Gilloise, Karabag, and Kairat Almaty, I'm so confident that these guys won't go. It just has to do with the strength of their squads, just the landscape of Europe. I don't see how the matchups these teams got in the order that they're in, which ones are home, which ones are away. I just don't see how most of these teams here make it into the playoffs. They're I have 3 teams not getting any points, 3 teams only picking up 1 win. Benfica and Bodo Glimt with a win and a draw, Copenhagen PSV with 2 wins, Olympiacos with 2 wins and a draw, and Galatasaray with, I think, 2 wins and 2 draws as well. So listen, I'm with all due disrespect, these teams are not good, and they're there to be pimp smacked and destroyed 5-0. So Haaland, Harry Kane, Mbappe, Ousmane Dembele, Cole Palmer, Saka, like all these guys are going to put up big numbers against these teams, and they're going to get those stats up, and it is what it is. The furthest respect I gave these teams was going through and predicting all of their games. Outside of Kairat, all of their games predicted right here in my little notebook. So that's the furthest respect they're getting from me. I'll see them very soon. Bayern, I think, from these teams is playing Pafos and Union. give us a nice little 6-7 piece. I think Bayern is also playing Sporting and PSV, so or Copenhagen, whatever it is, easy wins. So yeah, let's not focus too much more on the teams that we think are going to be trash. Let's head to 24th through 17th. So the bottom half of the playoff 16. I have Athletic Club, Ajax, Monaco, Atalanta, Bayer Leverkusen, Eintracht Frankfurt, Juventus, and Marseille finishing in that order, 24th to 17th. Now, a couple things here about these teams. If there is one team, the only team with this prediction, now that I've thought about it a little more, that I'm having a little bit of doubts on is Ajax. Now, from those teams I showed you previously, I can definitely see Ajax falling down and one of these teams instead going up. One of those teams I mentioned, maybe a Galatasaray, PSV, or Bodo Glimt. But even then, I just thought the way Ajax's fixtures were lined up, I just predicted them to get enough points the way they were. Like, this is how I have Ajax losing to Inter in their first game, losing to Marseille in their second game, losing to Chelsea. So beginning the league phase with 3 losses in a row, but then getting a win against Galatasaray, Benfica, and Karabakh, 3 in a row, losing to Villarreal, and then tying against Olympiacos. So 9 points from 3 wins and a point from a draw. That's my riskiest bet here. I think Athletic Club also very close in my opinion. I think these guys might be underwhelming. I think if you go off the past couple of years and you think of some of the names they have, like a Nico Williams at Athletic Club Bilbao, I just don't think they'll be as strong as some people might expect them to be, because I saw the way their fixtures were lined up, and it's a tough slew of fixtures for them. They really have a tough fixture schedule here. They have Arsenal, they have Dortmund. I have them losing both of those games. Getting a win against Karabakh, cool. I have them losing to Newcastle, beating Slavia, then losing to PSG and Atalanta, and then beating Sporting for 3 wins out of 8 and getting 9 points. It's just all those other matches that I mentioned, the games against PSG, the games against Arsenal, Dortmund, PSG, Newcastle, and Atalanta. I think it'll just be too much for Athletic Club because they also haven't started the season that well. I'm not too impressed with them so far in La Liga. So I think they will just have enough. Listen, I have them on 9 points, 1 point separating them from my 25th spot prediction, Galatasaray. So it's going to be fine margins. I think if there's something we learned from the league phase last season, it's that the finest of margins can separate a team going home or a team being in the playoffs, or a team from being in the playoffs to a team being in the top 8 and getting the chance to skip the playoff positions. So yeah, a lot of teams end up drawing on points, and goal difference becomes a big factor here. So who knows? Athletic Club can maybe make me look stupid and do a lot better, but just that fixture schedule, I just don't see them getting enough points to climb any higher than around 9. Maybe if they could get a win out of those games I mentioned that they lost, 12 points max really for Athletic Club when I look at their fixture schedule. Monaco and Atalanta having just enough in their fixtures to get 11 points. Bayer Leverkusen, I think 20th place. Maybe people who haven't really been keeping up with Leverkusen this season might see that as a shocking prediction, because last year Leverkusen finished in the top 8. I mean, don't forget, Leverkusen finished in the top 8. They went to the round of 16. Everyone thought that they would beat Bayern over 2 legs, and they got washed 5-0 was or 5-1. Wasn't a good performance for them in that round of 16. They got completely shut out, and their team has been completely wiped out. Ta, Verts, Shaka, all those key guys gone. Boniface gone. Hradecki, their goalie, gone. And if you didn't know, they signed Eric Ten Hag to replace Xabi Alonso, and they sacked him after 2 Bundesliga matches. So Leverkusen still has enough quality, and they started off well with a win with Kasper Hjulmand, the former Denmark national team coach, beating Eintracht Frankfurt this past weekend. So they definitely have enough strength for sure to make the playoffs, but they will be nowhere near the top 8 positions. And I have them tied on points with other German opposition, their fellow countrymen team, or whatever you want to say, Eintracht Frankfurt. I think they're going to have an impressive year. Yes, they just lost to Leverkusen, as I just mentioned, 3-1 in the Bundesliga, but they lost Marmoush and Ekitike this year. But the thing that has made Eintracht Frankfurt so successful the last couple of years is just quality recruitment. quality recruitment, and they've gone into the Bundesliga and replaced guys like that with Jonathan Burkhardt from Mainz, Ritsu Duan from Freiburg, who are two quality players. And a guy like Ritsu Duan has started the season off very well for Eintracht Frankfurt. So I have them getting 12 points. Juventus, I think it's just another year in the playoffs for them. Last year they were in the playoffs and they didn't even make it out of the playoffs. If you remember, Ivan Perisic and PSV dumped them out. So unfortunately for Juventus, I think they're going to have another year in the playoffs. Now, they just had a very impressive 4-3 win against Inter Milan. Crazy game. If you haven't watched the highlights for the game, I recommend it. Like, bangers after bangers. I couldn't believe my eyes when I was watching the highlights. But when I look at their team, I just don't see a team that could go anywhere to competing with the teams I have in the top 8. Their fixture schedule as well, Juventus, it's tough. It's tough, and I have them slipping up. I feel like this team is very young, doesn't have a lot of Champions League experience. I have them slipping up in certain games that you might think they'd win. Looking at their 8 games, I have them tying to Dortmund in the first game, then losing to Villarreal in the second game. I have them losing to Real Madrid 3-1, beating Sporting 2-0, Bodo Glimt, winning 3-1 there, beating Pafos 4-0, beating Benfica 2-1, and then I actually have them losing to Monaco in the last game. So I just have a little bit of a feeling that it won't be smooth running. This isn't the Juventus of old. I think a lot of people realize that Juventus isn't the Juventus of 2015, 2017. This is a bogged down Juventus team. I would say there really is only like 3 guys I rate in this Juventus team. Kenan Yildiz, Bremer, and then I don't even think I rate Vlahovic at this point anymore. Definitely not. So it's not a peak Juventus team, but they 100% have the strength to finish at least 18th. Like, I could see Juventus finishing higher than this. If they do beat a Monaco, I predicted them to lose Monaco on the last match day. They would go up into the higher parts of the league table on 16 points. So, yeah, and I think Marseille at 17th. I think Marseille is going to be a surprise package in the UCL this year. I really do think so. Their team is good. And I'm just going to pull their team up real quick here. It's a weird thing to say, but they brought in a guy like Aguerd from the Premier League. They brought in Benjamin Pavard on loan from Inter Milan, a World Cup winner, Champions League winner with Bayern, titles at Inter and Bayern. They have Tim Weah on the left wing, U.S. international. The midfield is strong, and Aubameyang up top, who has been scoring the goals for them, and I'm leaving him till last, but I know he's a controversial figure because of the horrible things that he was going to court for like 4 years ago. But Mason Greenwood has been setting all the off the pitch stuff aside. You have to admit it. Mason Greenwood has been incredible for Marseille. He is their X factor player. And I could see Greenwood, causing some uncomfortable conversations across Europe, because I see him doing very well in the Champions League this year, combining with Aubameyang to get the job done in a lot of their games. And if I'm looking at the Marseille fixture schedule, I have them losing to Real Madrid in the first game. Then I have them beating Ajax, Sporting, Atalanta, drawing to Newcastle, beating Union Saint-Gilloise, losing to Liverpool, and tying the Club Brugge on the last match day. So I think Marseille is going to be a little bit of a surprise package. I haven't watched a lot of other people's UCL predictions videos yet, but I'm probably going to go back and watch them. But I can't imagine a lot of people are having any real expectations for Marseille, but I'm expecting them to at least finish 17th. I think they could finish a little higher, to be honest, but we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll look like a fool after this prediction. Who knows? But that's the bottom half of the playoff 16. Onto the top half of the playoff 16, I have Tottenham finishing in 16th place, Newcastle in 15th place, Club Brugge in 14th place, and Inter Milan in 13th place. In fact, I have Marseille also basically from 13th to 17th. I have them all tied on 14 points. Inter Milan, Club Brugge, Newcastle, Tottenham, and Marseille all on 14 points. And again, it just shows you how important goal difference is in the league phase, and how much it could affect your standing in the table. So yeah, going on with the top half of this playoff 16, you guys, I blindly predicted the matches how I honestly thought they'd go, and this is how the points came out. I think starting off with Inter Milan, it's not going to be as strong of a season. They just lost to Juventus 4-3. The defense is going to be a little weaker. I just think when you go through what that team went through last year, and then to cap the season off by going from going to a potential treble-winning season to going trophyless, losing the league to Napoli, crashing out on the cup, and then getting pimp smacked 5-0, resurrected 5-0 in the UCL final, in the most embarrassing Champions League final display we've ever seen in the modern era. This team is not going to be as special this year. Inzaghi isn't there anymore. And, if you watch my videos on Inter Milan, I think a lot of people would agree that, yes, they have Lautaro, Barella, Thuram. They have Bastoni in the back, Jan Sommer in goal. But the real X factor of this Inter Milan team, the last couple seasons, the last 3 seasons where they made 2 Champions League finals in 3 years, the real X factor of this Inter Milan team was Inzaghi. And he's not here anymore. He dipped to go take the paycheck with Al Hilal and do special things in the Saudi League. So, yeah, I think maybe some people might find this as a shocking pick for Inter Milan to be so low, but I'm not expecting much from them, at least in the league phase. Maybe they'll get better as the season goes on, but I don't have high hopes. And then, I have Club Brugge also tied on 14 points. I think this is a team people are sleeping on. Yes, they have to get to the UCL through the qualifications, but you guys, I know it's Rangers, and Rangers are horrible this year. Like horrible, like awful, garbage, pathetic team Rangers are, but they still smashed them like 9-10 goals. This Club Brugge team, I could see a lot of people sleeping on them, counting them out, and getting some surprising results in their 8 games. If I go through the results I predicted for Bruges, I have them beating Monaco on opening day, tying to Atalanta 2-2, losing to Bayer Leverkusen 3-2, losing to Barcelona, but then I have them beating Sporting, beating Kairat Almaty, tying to Marseille, and I just have a feeling I have them getting a 3-1 win against Arsenal, a shocking win against Arsenal in the league phase this year. So I'm high on them. So Club Brugge, prove me right, please prove me right, so I could feel like a football genius. Newcastle and Tottenham, similar. Tottenham back in the UCL, getting in the playoffs would be a win for them. So same thing for Newcastle. Obviously Newcastle didn't start the season off too great, but with Nick Voltemata now in, getting them the win against Wolves this weekend, Newcastle on the Champions League nights as well at St. James's Park, it's just a different energy. Like they will play to a higher level. They will play with more caution. They will play more responsibly. So Newcastle away for any team in the league phase this year is going to be tough. It's going to be tough. So I have Newcastle and Tottenham also both tied on 14 points. And if you go up, I think Villarreal also is going to be a little bit of a surprise team. I don't think people realize how good this Villarreal team is. They've started the season off strongly. They did lose to Atletico Madrid yesterday 2-0, who I have finishing on 15 points with them as well in the league phase. But it was an Atletico Madrid team so desperate for the win, winless in their first couple of La Liga games. It was going to be very hard for Villarreal to get over the line and get a win against Atleti when they were so desperate for a win. But I think this is a sleeper team right here. Like with Marseille, Club Brugge, don't sleep on Villarreal. Now, it's not in Unai Emery Villarreal. Unai Emery's Villarreal was different level, different gravy, right? But they have Nicolas Pepe. They've taken a chance on Nicolas Pepe, and he started the season off strongly for them. They have Parejo, that criminal Thomas Partey's in there. As much as I hate that guy, he's a good player. So they have quality in the team, and I think they'll, if you want to know how I have Villarreal finishing their matches, let me just find them on my expansive list. Villarreal, yes. So Villarreal, if you want to know how I have them getting 15 points, I have them tying to Tottenham 2-2, beating Juventus 2-1, tying to City 1-1, winning against Paphos 2-1, losing to Dortmund 2-0, beating Copenhagen 1-0, beating Ajax 2-0, and then beating drawing to Leverkusen 1-1 on the final match day. So that's how I have Villarreal finishing on 15 points. Atleti, now, when I went through these matches and I was going to predict them, I genuinely thought while I was doing them blinded, because I wanted to predict them blinded based off what I know about the teams. I did not expect myself to give Atletico Madrid this many points because they started the season off horribly. I mean, Simeone has assembled besides Julian Alvarez, Simeone has basically assembled the Argentinian B team, the Argentine national team B team. They look lost. They haven't started the season well. Yes, they just beat Villarreal 2-0, but I don't see that performance as a turn the season around. Let's get back on form. Let's start our real season. Our season starts now type of win. I don't think that's the case, but just the way the teams Atletico Madrid drew, they got a kind of draw. And the fixture schedule for them for the Champions League also is pretty strong as well. So that's why I actually have them higher than I thought I would at 11th place with 15 points. But this would be a downgrade from last year. Atletico Madrid did finish in the top 8 in last year's league phase. So this would be a big drop off for them, but deservedly so. They're not going to be strong this year. And I'd be surprised if they even make a run, like a deep run in the Champions League. But who knows? Maybe the one year where I really count out Atletico Madrid, they finally go on that deep Champions League run that I've been predicting them to do like the last 5 years. So I don't know. But if you want to know how I was scoring Atletico Madrid's games, I have them losing to Liverpool 2-0, beating Frankfurt 2-1, drawing to Arsenal 1-1, beating Union 3-0, tying to Inter 1-1, beating PSV 2-0, tying to Galatasaray 2-2, and beating Bodo Glimt 1-0. So I have them winning 4 games, drawing 3, and losing just 1. So yeah, Atletico Madrid, the fixture schedule isn't too bad, and I think they'll get over the line. Their toughest games are Liverpool, Arsenal, which I have them losing and drawing in, and also Inter have them drawing. I think they're still good enough to get the job done in those other games against like the pot 3 and 4 teams, basically. That's what's giving them so many points here. So I have that trust. Dortmund as well was a team I'm surprised I gave this many points, but they do deserve it. Like Dortmund was in the top 8 last year, or I'm sure, I think Dortmund was in the top 8, if I remember correctly. Let me just double check this, actually. Dortmund was in the top 8. And I did not expect that at all last year. No, sorry, Dortmund was 10th, so they did go through the playoffs. My bad. I completely misspoke. But anyway, I have them finishing 10th again. That's funny. I have Dortmund finishing 10th again this year on 16 points. The worrying thing for this Dortmund team is they are highly dependent on Serhou Guirassy. If Guirassy ever goes down injured this season, this Dortmund team would be in trouble because he's really punching above his weight with the players that are around him at Dortmund this season. So he's going to be key for them. If he keeps scoring the way he's scoring, he might have like an all-time season for Dortmund. Like he could genuinely go down as a Dortmund legend within his second season at the club. So I'm expecting a lot from Guirassy. I think he'll be one of the key reasons why Dortmund finish in 10th on 16 points. He'll be top, one of the top 5 goal scorers in the UCL after the league phase, 100%. I'm confident about it. So yeah, Dortmund under Niko Kovac, second season. I think they'll get stronger. Niko Kovac is building something. They started the Bundesliga off with a really poor 3-3 draw after going 3-1 up against St. Pauli, but they've rebounded and got some good wins, and they're looking a little bit serious. But, you can't ever trust Dortmund fully. With all due disrespect, you can never. So, yeah, Dortmund on 16 points, tied with Chelsea, also on 16 points in 9th place. Now, I think this would be actually disappointing for Chelsea. They are the Club World Cup champions. They're the Club World Cup champions. They're the world champions. Them finishing 9th would be disappointing. Also, given the fact that they've spent so much money on this freaking team the past 2-3 years, they would want to finish in the top 8 and avoid the playoffs. The reality is for Chelsea, the teams above them are just better, and I don't see them getting enough points to just edge themselves out into the top 8. But if you're curious about how I'm scoring Chelsea's games, I have them losing to Bayern, beating Benfica, beating Ajax, beating Karabakh, tying to Barcelona, beating Atalanta, beating Paphos, but then losing to Napoli on the last match day to collect only 16 points. So I have them winning 5 wins, getting 5 wins, drawing 1, and losing 2. So yeah, but for Chelsea, you're going to be looking at Caicedo to be a star for the team. You're going to be looking at João Pedro and Cole Palmer to carry the attack. The only thing that I'm just skeptical about Chelsea and why I might not put him at higher is I truly don't trust that defense. Namely, I truly do not trust Robert Sanchez and whatever center back pairing they go for. Yes, they've been playing well, but I'm telling you that center back pairing, whatever center back pairing Chelsea chooses, they will get exposed in the Champions League a little bit during the league phase. And their quality fullbacks like Cucurella and Reece James just won't be enough to compensate for that. And I still think Robert Sanchez is a bum. Like, he's a pretty good shot stopper, but he has a mistake waiting in him. But who knows? Maybe this year is his redeem season and he proves me wrong. But after the trash Robert Sanchez has been doing the last 2 years, he does not have my trust back. 100% he does not have my trust back, because I used to think he was a top quality goalie at Brighton. But ever since he came to Chelsea, the mistakes have been too prevalent to ignore. So yeah, Chelsea finishing 9th to finish off the playoff positions. Now, finally, what we've been waiting for, my top 8. How do I have the top 8 of the UCL League phase predicted? Who do I have finishing first? Who do I have barely edging it out? All these teams, obviously, I am predicting to bypass the playoff stage. This is how I have it. I have Arsenal in 8th and Liverpool in 7th, both tied on 17 points. I have Napoli in 6th, tied with Bayern Munich on 19 points as well, with Bayern in 5th. City and Barcelona both on 20 points, but City in 4th, Barcelona in 3rd, PSG in 2nd on 21, and Real Madrid in 1st. Now, starting at the bottom, Arsenal and Liverpool. I just think with Arsenal, what am I looking at Arsenal? It's just, I see them slipping up. And remember, I talked about Bruges getting a famous 3-1 win. I think that's where they slip up and lose some points. I have them drawing to Bayern in another match where they drop points. So, and I have them also drawing to Atletico Madrid. Yes, I have them drawing to Atletico Madrid, Bayern, and then losing to Bruges 3-1. I see them slipping up in 2 or 3 games in this league phase. Their defense is really strong. I'll give Arsenal that. Their defense is always strong. They've brought in more players to just strengthen that defense. They already have Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Lewis Skelly. I rate so highly at left back, and they brought in a guy like Mosquera, and they brought in another guy in Piero Hincapié from Leverkusen, who I rate very, very highly. So defense is going to be big for Arsenal in this league phase, but I still don't trust the attack. Saka gets injured too much. Odegaard gets injured too much. Both are out injured as we speak. How will Eberechi Eze be able to take over the attacking reins at Arsenal? Gyökeres is looking like a fraud against any half-decent opposition. I just don't think they have the attacking power to get more than that, but they have enough quality in midfield and defense to get them over the line a lot of games and finish off with 17 points. Liverpool as well. I think a lot of people will say this is a low position for Liverpool, taking into account the business they've done, bringing in Jeremy Frimpong, bringing in Kierkegaard, bringing in Wirtz, Ekitike, and Alexander Isak. 5 big boy players right there. But yes, they're 4-4 in the Premier League right now, 12 out of 12 points, but they are not playing well. Things are not clicking. And I'm sorry, when a team spends like that in one window and spend huge amounts like they did, I never believe that they're just going to go on to win everything. I always think football is never as simple as that. You can never just buy your way to football right away. The team has to suffer. The team has to grow. And I think it's too many new players for Liverpool this year to suddenly be Champions League winners. Will they go on to win the Premier League again? Yes, I'm predicting them to do so. I said that in my Premier League predictions video. But in the UCL, it's different gravy, different opponents, tougher atmospheres, tougher games. I think they won't be able to scrape by in the UCL like they've been doing in the Premier League. And for Liverpool, I have them beating Atalanta, drawing to Galatasaray, beating Frankfurt, losing to Real Madrid this time, beating PSV, drawing to Inter, and then beating Marseille and Karabag in the final 2 games. So Liverpool, 17. Now, if there's a prediction I'm very scared of looking stupid for, it's 6th place, my 6th place prediction in Napoli. Now, I do not think the Serie A is a good league. And because I don't think the Serie A is a good league, it is weird for me to place the Serie A champions so highly, but there's just something about this team, how Antonio Conte is again bringing in Premier League reject players and turning them into Premier League a Serie A winning team. De Bruyne has went there and he's landed. He is assisting his socks off already. McTominay was Serie A MVP. Lukaku, when he's back from injury, I'm sure is going to be very happy with the service he's going to get from De Bruyne. Billy Gilmore. Now Rasmus Højlund just signed for Napoli, and he scored on his first game for Napoli after he couldn't even kick a ball right at Manchester United. So I might be putting too much faith in Napoli, but I think there might be something special there. The other thing that I just really, it's like a red flag for you to not put Napoli this high is Antonio Conte's record in Europe. I think everyone knows Antonio Conte is borderline a fraud in Europe. When it comes to UCL, he has shown numerous times that he is 1000% out of his depth. So this might be a foolish bet to take Napoli to finish so highly, but listen, I'm on the Napoli hype train. Let me be on the Napoli hype train. If they end up like, I would not be surprised if Napoli end up finishing like 19th, 15th to 19th, but second half of the playoff positions. Like, I wouldn't be surprised, because I would once again be reaffirmed that the Serie A sucks. The level of Serie A is so low, but this is the last chance for Serie A. If you're league champions this year, do not get top 8 and you're at the bottom of the playoff positions, I'm 100% wrapping it up in Serie A. And I'm digging him a grave, and we're gonna be playing this clip over and over again just for the Serie A.
Somebody smell like shit! Somebody smell like shit! Wait! Somebody smell like shit!
I love that clip. But yeah, Napoli can be a risky pick. Bayern, last year I predicted them to get like 3rd or 4th in the league phase, and they ended up finishing like 12th in the playoffs. They had two horrible results against Aston Villa and Feyenoord that really screwed them in the league phase. But this Bayern team has grown so much with their Viso company the last year. They are just slowly and surely building up this killer edge in the attack with Harry Kane, Olise, Luis Diaz. Musiala coming back from injury will be a mega boost to the team. Gnabry is having like a resurgence at Bayern at the number 10 role. I don't know what's going on, but he is playing his socks off. It's just strange. The whole team is fit besides the 3 big injuries, and once Musiala, Alphonso Davies, and Hiroki Ito are back from injury around November, December time, this Bayern team is just going to get better. But until then, I still think they have enough in the squad to get the results they need to finish on 19 points with 14 goal difference. If you're curious about how I'm predicting their games, I have them beating Chelsea in the first game, beating Pafos 5-0, beating Club Brugge in a close 3-2 game. I then have them losing to PSG in Paris, tying to Arsenal in London, then beating Sporting Union and PSV in the last 3 games, 3-0, 4-1, and 3-0 respectively for 19 points. So I think this year I will be very, very disappointed if Bayern don't finish on the top 8 as a Bayern fan. Last year, I gave it an excuse because it's the first year of the league phase. Viso Company was still, during this league phase, trying to figure out this Bayern team, what suited the Bayern team the most, his best starting 11 and everything. But now he knows it. He knows how to get the most out of this team, and he has good enough players to do so. I'm 100% expecting a top 8 finish for Bayern this year, and we will be not playing in the playoffs. That's what I was trying to say. I had a stroke right there. But yeah, anyway, Bayern, 19 points. I have Manchester City in 4th place on 20 points. Now, I didn't think I'd give Man City this many points as well, like an Atletico Madrid, because I have not been convinced with them at the start of this Premier League season. I'm not convinced with them at all. The defense is too shaky. Pep Guardiola still, with all this money spent, has not figured out how to protect his back line well enough. And this City team is there to be cut open and beaten. But they have a kind of draw. Man City did not get a tough draw. They have a good set of 8 fixtures. I have them beating Napoli in the first game 2-1. I have them beating Monaco 3-1, drawing to Villarreal, beating Dortmund, beating Leverkusen, drawing to Real Madrid, then beating Bodo Glimt and Galatasaray. So they got a kind of draw. Real Madrid is their toughest game there out of the 8. And yeah, they just got a kind draw. That's why they're this high. If Man City got like the draw PSG had, maybe I wouldn't put them so high. Maybe they'd be back in the playoffs again for a second year in a row. But I'm predicting them fourth place on 20 points and tied on 20 points with them Barcelona, both tied on goal difference as well. So I have Barcelona going through on third place, higher than Manchester City because of goals scored. Barcelona they're definitely finishing the top 8. Last year they finished in the top 8. The attack, the midfield, world class. The defense is a little thin. I think every Barcelona fan will tell you the defense is a little thin with the loss of Inigo Martinez to Al Nassr at the end of the summer transfer window. But they made a huge signing in getting Jean Garcia, and he has been absolutely impeccable for Barcelona this season. And Barcelona fans are filled with joy because they have a real goalkeeper that is not a brick for the first time in a couple of years. So FC Barcelona, yes, they're a little thin in the back 4, but they have a massive upgrade in the goalkeeper position. So I have Barcelona getting 20 points. And then PSG getting second now. This is also a risky one with PSG. Last year, PSG, as we know, almost didn't even make it to the playoffs. And they ended up winning the whole thing. But this time, with the momentum they have from being treble winners, not just Champions League winners, they are a treble team now. I think PSG should have the professionalism to get 21 points and come out in second place now. The reason why this prediction is a little risky is because they have the toughest fixture schedule in the Champions League. And it's funny because last year in the first edition of the league phase, PSG actually had the toughest 8 games as well. But this year, again, from the not rigged, computer-driven draw, AI draw, whatever, software basically did the draw for us and will be doing the draw for us for the rest of the for the foreseeable future. They got a tough run now. I just think they're too good to not show that championship mentality and get a lot of key wins here. So for PSG, I have them beating Atalanta in the first game. I do have them losing to Barcelona in the second game 4-2, but I think they'll bounce back, beat Leverkusen 3-1, beat Bayern 2-1, beat Tottenham 2-0, beat Athletic Club 3-1, beating Sporting 2-0, and then beating Newcastle 4-2. I just see it. I just see that happening. Obviously, in the games where they can drop the points is like after Barcelona, the second game I'd give them the highest opportunity of dropping points is the Bayern game, because Bayern and PSG have played each other a lot the last couple of years, and last year they played each other twice, once in the Champions League phase and once in the Club World Cup. So that will be an intriguing matchup. It will be close, but I do think PSG edged it out over us at Bayern. And yeah, I'm getting 21 points. Strong team now. They didn't sign too much. They didn't sign too many players in the summer transfer window this year or this past summer. They brought in a Zabarny, Ukrainian center back from Bournemouth. That's good to bolster their back line. But outside of that, I can't think of any other high-profile names that they brought to the club. They lost Donnarumma. They've decided to put their trust in the Chevalier, the French goalkeeper, 23 years old. So, yeah, PSG second place. And my first place team, as you've seen, it's been on the screen the last fucking 8 minutes. Real Madrid, I have finishing in first place. Now, this is also a risky pick, but actually last year I predicted Real Madrid to get first, and they also ended up in the playoff position. So that was a bad prediction last year. But the reason Real Madrid I'm predicting to get first place is the reason I thought they'd get first place last year, and it's Kylian Mbappe. And obviously we know last year Kylian did not start the season off well at all. Remember that game at Liverpool, Connor Bradley pocketing him and destroying him, starting life off at Real Madrid horribly. But eventually he found his feet, and now he has started this year under Xabi Alonso at Real Madrid on fire. He looks like the Mbappe of old. He's dribbling players. He's taking them on. He's scoring goals. He's assisting. He's actually an entertaining player again. He's doing special things on the field. And that, for me, when Mbappe is at his best, that's enough X factor for me to take them through a lot of these games and get those wins and get first place in the league phase. basically the justification I had last year with Mbappe going to the team. I'm carrying it over to this year because it seems to apply more because Mbappe has finally found himself. He is making this Real Madrid team his team. Now, obviously, Vinny and Rodrigo are still there. Both of those guys have been very on and off for the last year. They have been very unreliable, but Mbappe has found his feet, and he is the leader of this Real Madrid side. They still have Valverde, Arda Güler, Bellingham, all these players, Camavinga, Tchouaméni. The midfield is set. And then the only other worry besides Vinny and Rodrigo being on and off on form, the only other worry Real Madrid, in my opinion, really has is at center back. Their center back, they're 1 or 2 injuries away from being in a crisis again, as they were last year, which is why a guy like Raul Asensio was able to establish himself in the team. But center back depth is thin for Real Madrid, and they just got the news of a Antonio Rudiger 3-month injury. So now their center backs are Raul Asensio, Eder Militao, Dean Housen, Alaba, who is also very injury prone. If Eder Militao drops down again, you guys, it's not. That's very possible. Eder Militao is coming off back-to-back ACL injuries in the last 2-3 years. Eder Militao's fitness is not guaranteed. Dean Housen has started the season off getting 2 red cards. Is that going to be a regular occurrence? Who knows? So you're left with what? Raul Asensio and Alaba? So the center back depth is a big issue for Real Madrid if they get any more injuries outside of Rudiger. But even then, given the games Real Madrid has as well, they have more than enough with Mbappe playing at his best to get first place. If you're curious, I have them beating Marseille. I have them beating Kairat. I have them beating Juventus, beating Liverpool, beating Olympiacos. I have them tying to Manchester City and then beating Monaco and Benfica. So I have them dropping points in only 1 game in a draw and getting 7 wins out of 8. So listen, come January, I'm going to look back at this video and I'm probably going to cringe at my predictions. But hey, that's the fun part of predictions. You know, no one is ever going to get it right, and we're all going to give our perspectives. But yeah, this is my top 8: Real Madrid, PSG, Barcelona, City, Bayern, Napoli, Liverpool, and Arsenal finishing off in the top 8. In the playoff positions, I have Chelsea, Dortmund, Atletico Madrid, Villarreal, Inter Milan, Club Brugge, Newcastle, and Tottenham, with Marseille, Juventus, Eintracht Frankfurt, Bayer Leverkusen, Atalanta, Monaco, Ajax, and Athletic Club finishing in the playoff spots. And then I have these teams not making it into the playoff positions: Galatasaray, Olympiacos, Copenhagen, PSV, Benfica, Bodo Glimt, Sporting, Pafos, Slavia, Union, Karabakh, and Kairat Almaty. Let's hit it one more time for the culture for these garbage teams.
Somebody smell like shit! Somebody smell like shit! Wait! Somebody smell like shit!
Those guys are clowns, bro. Those guys are clowns. But anyway, those are my UCL 2025-2026 league phase predictions. Let me know if you agree or disagree. It's been your boy Hokage. Somebody smells like shit. Bayern, let's get to business. First game against Chelsea this week. Mia San Mia. We're ready. We're not scared of the Club World Cup champions. I spit on that Fugazi Club World Cup. I'll see you guys then for those Champions League post-match reactions this week. It's been your boy Hokage. Peace.